I'm Nick Seco from HomeRight Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by HomeRight Windows and Doors in Waynesboro. The right choice, online at homerightwaynesboro.com. Joining us today from the Floo Network, we have James Quinn. He is the owner of the Floo Network. James, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Great. Pleasure to see you today. Now, I'll be honest with you, I had never heard of the Floo Network, but it makes total sense because we're not talking about the flu, as in flu, pneumonia, or a summer ailment, so to speak. We're talking about chimneys. We're talking about fireplaces here. So let's start out with just the very basics. About you. Take us through how you got into working with chimneys. Why did that interest you?
Well, actually, it was something that wasn't so much interested me. I just kind of fell into the industry.
Okay.
And then after being in the industry for a little bit, I learned just kind of what a chimney sweep does, the importance of what we do, and the safety factors of trying to make sure that people are using their hearth appliances safely. Okay. You see chimney fires every year. Last year we had around 15 in the area, so it's something that we're the first ones on the scene to make sure that these types of things don't happen. Very
interesting. So when it comes to the basics of this, now what exactly does the Floo Network offer homeowners if they're looking to maybe add a fireplace?
So we have a hearth appliance store. The showroom floor is located at 114 Western Maryland Parkway. Okay. And then we have every type of fuel from gas, propane, wood, pellet, and electric. So whatever type of appliance that you would be looking for, we have that to offer.
Now, you're also a full-service chimney sweep company.
Correct.
And I think a lot of us listening, watching, have probably heard of a chimney sweep. But drill it down to the basics. What does a chimney sweep do? What does that service look like?
So it doesn't look like it used to with a top hat or anything like that. A lot of times we refer to chimney sweeps now as chimney technicians. Okay. And it's just because we use a lot of technology. One of the things is that we use is called a chim scan in our company. Okay. It's just a chimney camera. It's going to be run through the whole system. We can see above and the sides, so we can check flue tiles, whether the joints are good, whether they're cracked, because that integrity is what's keeping the carbon monoxide and the byproducts of combustion inside of the flue, because you don't want that in home. And
so this is a buildup over time, correct? And I always say I should say this at the beginning, and I never say it at the beginning, but I'm going to ask those questions that seem very obvious. So what you're just describing is a buildup over time in the interior of the chimney that in and of itself is highly combustible.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
If you think of it like smoking meat, one of the biggest things that they say in smoking meat is low and slow. When you have those temperatures at 250, 300 underneath that temperature, smoke condenses. So when that condenses, that in your smoking meat, you're getting that sticky flavor into the meat.
Sure.
Whereas if you're having that in a chimney, that's the flammable substance, creosote.
Okay. Gotcha.
And the more creosote you have, the more fire that you can have inside of the flue, and it's something where your combustible framing can be right up against, if not sometimes within the flue tile itself.
Okay.
That's one of the things that gets checked during inspections is we'll go into the attic and double check to make sure that it has clearances. If it doesn't have clearances, then it's one of the reasons we want to install a chimney liner.
Is there a more preferable time of the year or a more beneficial time of the year versus another to get this type of service done or at least get it checked?
It's more beneficial not to wait until September, October.
Sure.
That's when everybody's calling, so you're more likely to have to wait a significant amount of time to get that service scheduled. This time of year is perfect. We're going to be able to come out. We're not going to have any snow or ice on the roof, so we're going to be able to access the top of the chimney. Yeah. So that's going to be one of those things that the time of year is best to get it done in the summer and the spring. But if it's somebody that burns a lot, if you're going through 2-3 cords a season, we might see you more than once a year.
Okay.
And that's something that's just necessary based on how much you use the system.
And let's talk about certifications. We hear a lot in almost every industry about certified for X, Y, and Z.
Correct.
And you, your team, your business have several certifications. What do they mean to the average person who has some type of appliance, as you call it, a fireplace, wood stove, pellet stove? What do those certifications mean, and why should they matter to your potential clients? Well,
there's a few reasons. One of the biggest reasons is that's a first indication that the person's got some training and they know what they're doing, because in a lot of places, especially around where we're at, there's not a whole lot of requirements for a business to go out and sweep a chimney. And there's no one going behind them double checking to make sure that they're inspecting the things that they're supposed to.
Right.
A lot of times we just, fun term we call them is brush pushers.
Okay.
So that's something where you don't want to just hire a brush pusher, you want somebody that knows what they're doing, and that certification gives you that acknowledgement.
Okay.
Also, certain appliances, especially with any kind of HHT products, they will require the certification for the installer to be certified for their warranty to be honored.
Right.
So whether that be some of the manuals will say CSIA certification, some will say NFI certification. The NCSG, that's really something that's more of like an industry certification, if you will, as far as just you have members and we're a member.
Okay.
And that's something that they work on behalf of the industry. They do a lot of things on the back end to look after the industry's benefits. And then as far as their certifications, it's really just another way that somebody can prove that they've gone through some form of schooling. And that's what all of these really are. Is just showing that you've got the training, you know what you're doing.
It's kind of interesting that you would say, of course I believe you, but it's interesting that you would say that around our area, and I don't know that that's unique to our area, but that there's not a lot of governing body for certifications when we're dealing with something that carries with it the potential of a home fire.
Exactly.
You would think that with as big as the insurance industry is, and as much as they don't want to pay premiums, because let's face it, they don't want to pay, what it's going to cost.
No, they do not.
You would think that they would knock on the government's door and say, look, crack down on this. If someone's going to claim that they need to be certified, we're seeing X, Y, and Z house fires. So it's just, to me, it would put my mind at ease, and especially as you've just described it, that maybe I wouldn't sit on the phone and hear you say that, but to hear it right now, like, you know what, that matters. It really does matter, because it's, I'm all for people, having a handyman, but we're not talking about patching a hole in your wall.
Right. And if it's something where, like I was saying earlier, you're going through it and you're having to sweep your system, 2-3 times a season just because you use it a lot.
Right.
I encourage homeowners to sweep a system themselves, because if I've gone through and I've inspected it, and the only thing we got to do is get the soot out of there, well, that's not a big deal. Whereas, with the NFPA 211, one of the things that they recommend for just a home sale, for instance, is they actually require in a home sale a level 2 inspection.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we're not in an area that's actually required by the governing bodies. If you're in certain states like New Jersey, though, that's actually a requirement for a home sale. Okay. So it just kind of depends on where you're at on whether those types of things can be required. But it's kind of like an industry standard, but not a requirement from the governing bodies.
Right. Okay. I understand. So now let's talk about your showroom. You have the fireplace, the facades, the appliances. ever expanding inventory, I'm sure, and it's beautiful. I've been online, you can see pictures there. But it may seem like this is an obvious question. This is one of those ones I might roll my eyes if I heard me asking this. But why is it important for folks to get to your showroom to see what you have versus browsing online and potentially buying from someone who is not a licensed installer, retailer, distributor, such as yourself?
Well, we're going to have certain brands that other places don't have. Okay. For instance, we're the only dealer for Kuma in the state of Maryland. We're bringing on a new brand here shortly, Blaze King, and that's one that no one's dealing in the area. So if you want to see, touch, and feel the appliance, it's one of the things that you can't do online.
Sure.
And then as far as just getting that overall aesthetic feel for stuff, you can see the curvature of something online, but if you're not able to really look at it and you're spending, sometimes $10,000 to $15,000 on an installation, you really want to know what you're getting beforehand.
Now you cover the installation of the appliance, but and I'm assuming this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll also install on the hearth stonework that needs done, as well as stonework that needs done on the outside. Correct?
Yeah, literally, if it has to do with a chimney or fireplace, we are able to do it.
Okay. Now speaking of that, let me. I want to wrap it up with this, because we're in a season where a lot of people are, and I'm seeing a lot of them in my neighborhood, for sale signs. There may be some places that have a fireplace or a wood burning stove, pellet stove, anything that you've talked about so far. And that may be one of those things when you see it, it is that gives you that home feeling. Oh, honey, I've always wanted a home with a fireplace, right? And you can imagine Christmases. So you're very excited about it, as you should be. But I don't think that chimney inspections or inspections based on what you're talking about are often cross our minds.
It's almost avoided in a lot of times, because the nature of the beast is, if it's a house that's anything older than, say, 20 years, it wasn't built to any kind of a fire safety standard, really. They didn't really hit the NFPA 211 into the IRC until about 2000. So when you're looking at how something's constructed, it may need a liner. If they want a fireplace, it might need a lot of work for an open wood burning fireplace. We offer a really neat kind of solution for that. It's called a retrofit. There's two different brands that we carry. There's Aaron, and then there's also Prior Fire. And what they do is they allow you to take that old fireplace that has clearance issues, there's safety concerns, all this kind of stuff, and rather than ripping the whole chimney down to the firebox, we can gut the inside of the firebox and install this UL listed product with a liner. It's going to be more efficient, and it's not like a metal insert where it's a closed firebox. This is still going to give you that open wood burning fireplace feel.
Gotcha. Okay. Now you would also, I'm sure, recommend to have an inspection if you're buying a home, if you are into this home and it's, honey, I've found the place and it has a fireplace, especially 20 years or more, have it inspected, and you would take care of that?
Absolutely, and not just fireplaces, because one of the most overlooked things is the heating appliance. Okay. So if you've got a gas furnace, if it's an oil furnace, if you don't see a metal circular cap coming out of the top, probably, it's not lined, and it needs to be. Okay. Those are the things that are getting used throughout the whole season. You're not thinking about them. A lot of people don't even realize that chimney is venting that furnace or water heater or whatever it might be. Wow. And those are the things where carbon monoxide is the concern. Because inevitably, if it's a 50-year-old chimney, they didn't have a cap on top, water's been coming down, washing all that stuff out. When also water mixes with oil venting byproducts, it creates an acid. Okay. And what that acid does is it eats up those flue tiles. So whenever we have a system that doesn't have flue tiles any longer, or they're destroyed, we have to reline it. It has to have a sealed system.
Very good. Okay, well, James, thefloonet.com is your website. FLOO is how that's spelled. And take us through your location again, where we can catch you at the showroom. Okay.
So we're located at 114 Western Maryland Parkway, and that's located right behind Valentine Electric. Okay. So we don't have a huge sign, but if you just look on the door, you'll be able to see us. And then we do have, like I said, Kuma, We also carry Valor is one of our big time brands. That's going to be our gas and electric stuff. We constantly bring on new brands. We've got Modern Flames, Regency. It's just something where we're constantly looking to try to find the best products to be able to provide to the community.
Well, I guarantee you too, this is going to go in our Ask the Expert playlist on our YouTube page. I encourage everyone to go check that out. James, the owner of the Floo Network, thank you so much for being here, my
Absolutely.
friend. We'll have you back. And if you need anything when it comes to these appliances, fireplace, if you're looking to buy a home that has a fireplace, as we said a few minutes ago, cannot recommend enough that you A, get an inspection, and B, get your inspection done by James and his team at the Floo Network. James, I did want to ask you this. I know you said they're in an area where there's not a lot of regulation. Is there we often hear businesses say licensed in Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia. How does that work for you guys?
So you have to be licensed to be able to do any kind of repairs on a chimney.
Okay.
You don't technically have to be licensed to sweep a chimney, though.
Okay.
It's just one of those things where if you're going to have some work done, you probably want to start off with somebody licensed from the beginning, because you're just going to end up spending the money twice to get an inspection.
Okay, and so you have no problem going to homes in Franklin County, Pennsylvania, down into Berkeley County, West Virginia. You're good.
Correct. Yeah, we cover Berkeley, Frederick, or Berkeley, Jefferson, and Morgan County, West Virginia. We got Frederick and Washington County here in Maryland, and then Franklin and Fulton in Pennsylvania.
Perfect. So James and the Floo Network covering everything, and we thank him so much for being part of Let's Talk Tri-State today. And we thank you so much for joining us for Let's Talk Tri-State.
Let's talk Tri-State.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.